Welcome to the Tom Style Show. Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate the support, folks. Oh my God, today it's a blessing. It's a blessing. We got Sam Kamani with us. He is the host of Web3 with Sam Kamani, a very popular podcast with so much information, so many things to learn. He talks to the founders, whether it's the Web3 world, the NFTs, the blockchain. Man, this is insane. And you can't believe this. He is the author of a 30-day startup. 30-day, you can put your startup back on track, or you can build a prototype in less than $50,000. How to scale, how to take it from the 30-day startup to the billion-dollar enterprise. Man, this man is insane. I'm just such a huge fan. Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show. You know, Sam, we got to start from the beginning. How did you get this entrepreneurial bug?
Very interesting. It's a blessing to be on your show, and an absolute pleasure talking with you. I love your energy. I love your show. I'm a subscriber and a fan as well. So let's get into it. So I'll go back and just my beginning and stuff. So I grew up in India, studied computer science, like a lot of us do back there.
Yeah.
But then I realized that okay, you can code, you can create startups, you can build things, you can create projects, but then you still need users. You still have to get your message out there. So I went to New Zealand, I studied marketing, and I fell in love with the whole growth marketing side of things. And that's when I started going in that direction, and that's when opportunities came across. So I've always been early with new technologies. I was doing Google AdWords back in 2003 and 4 when the whole product was new. No one even knew about Google AdWords. That's when you can buy Google AdWords for 10 cents, which now costs $30 a click. So there's always opportunity for arbitrage in those sort of settings. So been early for most tech. So I started my e-commerce company, grew it to a 7-figure business, sold that e-commerce business back in 2015. And then I joined an esports startup. With that, I was based in Bay Area for a short time in 2018, and that got acquired. And after that, I wrote the book, 30-Day Startup. And I've taken a few times in my life, I've taken sabbaticals and just try and do things. But I realized, look, I like being in the field. I like talking with people like you. That's when I started one podcast, and after that, when I saw what was happening with blockchain, what was happening in the whole sort of crypto scene and the opportunities it was presenting, and how I could see that this is creating a new type of money, a new type of transaction, a new type of way to transfer value from one human being to another human being. That's when I realized that this is going to be some sort of a phenomenal shift in how we do business in the next 10, 15 years. So that's when I started my Web3 podcast, because I wanted to, just like you, I had this bug to learn from other founders, to learn from other successful investors, venture capitalists, and so on. So I started interviewing them on my podcast called Web3 with Sam Kamani podcast. And through that, I came across different opportunities. And one such opportunity was the company called Cookbook, or Cookbook.dev, who are building infrastructure for Web3 developers. Because there's very few developers who code and program in Web3 or who are Web3 native. So we wanted to build tools. So it's really, really fast to create things in Web3. So for example, you could create your own coin called Tom Styles Show Coin, and then reward each of your audience for promoting you 5 coins of your own, and create and have some equity, and then you could give them voting rights. So you could have create like a decentralized autonomous organization, or called a DAO, that hey, you've been watching, you've been promoting me, you've been part of this community. Now you get to vote on who comes next as a guest. You get to vote on what topic we should cover next, and those sort of things. So give everyone the right to some form of a governance, create a governance structure with that. So those sort of things you can do on our platform. You could create smart contracts, and you don't even need to know how to code, because you can deploy it straight. So you can find templates and stuff. So it's kind of like smart contract recipes. But we can go in detail in that if you need any more information. But yeah, let's go ahead and feel free to ask me any questions about Web3.
Wow, you gave us a summary of a huge amount of information that will take probably years to decode. That's so amazing. So Sam, let's go back. Before I get to Web3, I have a lot of opinion on Web3. You might have seen me defending Sam Bankman-Fried. I have defended all kinds of people. So if you get in big trouble, you know who is going to defend you. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. So you don't have to worry. But so before we get to that, let's get back to your startup mindset.
Yes.
Like, how did you, we're trying to get to the book, the 30-day startup.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
because a lot of the people, they're watching the show or they're listening to podcasts straight out of college, or they're working at a company. Now they have enough information, and a lot of the founders I talk to, they usually worked at Microsoft, Google, Apple, and now, they were trying to do something on their own. They're going to get out there and do it. But that's a big risk there.
Yes.
Now, when I think of it, I'm like, if they follow the 30-day formula, they can take a risk. They can take a sabbatical, and boom, 30-day, they can do the MVP, they can see the stuff, and it doesn't cost too much money. They put it up. It's a huge opportunity for them. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the whole premise of the 30-day startup is not that you build and finish the company in 30 days. 30 days is to just get started. And then from there, the journey can take longer. So the idea is that you get your prototype out in the hands of your customer in some way or form in 30 days.
Yeah.
You don't sit and think about it for years and years.
Yeah.
Like when I look at you, I see an action taker, because you had this idea, the concept of getting a show, a podcast in this format. You implemented on it.
Yeah.
You didn't sit and think on it for 5 years that, I always had this idea and I saw, Tim Ferriss become big or Joe Rogan become big, and if only I did that or I'll do that in future. You didn't. You just took action and got started, and that's the whole premise of it. So if you have an idea for an app or website or whatever it might be, or a platform, go and build it in some small way. It does not have to be perfect, and get it out in the hands of your consumer, because you never know how they will react, and you will get to learn from it. Think of it as a process for your own self-development. Don't think of it that is the goal to the final end, So in 30 days, you get an MVP out or a minimum viable product. The keyword there is minimum, not maximum. It does not need to have every feature. Just get it out there.
Yeah.
And if it flies, it doesn't, see what people react to it, how they react to it, and then add more features on top of that, or remove features to make it better for your consumer.
This reminds me of a GoDaddy ad, back in the days when I think Bob Person was there.
I remember
right?
that ad, yes.
You remember this guy was dancing, we're going to do this, and then some guy bought the domain name.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man, I think they got that idea from that book.
Yeah, maybe, yes, maybe.
Oh, man, so the minimum viable product got to be out in 30 days. Get it out in the hand of the user, because a lot of people have this hesitation. They're like, if I give it to the hand of the user, they already know, oh my God, what's going to happen to my brand? Oh my God, So what do you think about that?
I have very strong views when it comes to this, because the thing is that you can have a business and a product, there is no point keeping it a secret.
Yes.
In fact, it's like you would have to spend money to go and promote it. You'll have to shout from the rooftops that this is my product, go and use it. Otherwise, if no one knows about it, you might as well not have bothered about it, So you have to get it out.
Yeah.
If you do not get it out, and if your product is so easy to copy, then you need to think about how you're going to build a defensible moat around it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as soon as it's out online, anyone can copy it. It's like, is there anything stopping you from creating a social media network like Facebook or Twitter or anything? No, nothing. But they have defensible moats, because they have economies of scale. They have users that are logged in, and they have a network effects and things like that. Those are the defensible moats around them that stop people from. So you have to think about, if your idea, what you want to build, is so easy to copy, then that's fine. It's they are going to copy as soon as you release it. So you have to think of how you're going to create a moat around it for that reason. But in the early stages, you don't need to even worry about that, because most products change a lot with the life cycle of the product. As consumers change, as people change, and companies have to change their offerings as well. So it's fine. It's just get it out there.
Wow. So this is very beautiful. Don't sit on it. Don't sit on this idea that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just go and do it. So the 30-day is, I think this is a motivational factor, it combined with the tricks of the industry. So guys, you got to buy that book. Get that book in your hand. So it's on Amazon. I saw it on Kindle, right?
Yes, it is on Amazon. Yeah. It did sell tens of thousands of copies. So very fortunate.
Wow.
And I did no marketing for it. I didn't go on any podcast. Just released it, and immediately people started. And the thing is, I followed the same formula because I wanted to prove that this can be done. So I wrote that book within 30 days. So took that challenge from the first day of the idea to the end day. It's 30 days, wrote 25,000 words while working a full-time job. I have wife and kids and everything. So just the goal was write 2,000 words every day. That's it. That's the goal. Whether they're good, bad, doesn't matter. And at the end, and then have send it to an editor to go and edit those books and stuff. So it was super challenging 30 days, but it was done. Did it have mistakes? Yes. But that's fine. As long as people get the message, that's what matters. If there's a comma or full stop missing somewhere, it's still okay. It's still okay. If there is a small issue with aligning the text or something, it's fine. It does not matter. You have to get it out there. And you can always make another edition, another version. It's like Mr. Beast's first video recorded on his webcam when he was 12 or 13 or whatever age. And if he had worried about that, no, it's not perfect and I'll release it when I get to perfect, you will not get to perfect if you wait, in this age. And I mean, it was different era back like 50 years ago, but now you have to just get it out, release it. And that's fine. People don't care. People care what the quality of how many pixels and the resolution of first video of Mr. Beast was? They don't. No one cares, So so just go for it.
Man, that is so beautiful. I'm a big Mr. Beast fan.
Yes,
he's revolutionizing the YouTube, right? That's where he's known for. Now, 30 days. So this and you did challenge yourself in writing the book in 30 days.
Yes.
Man.
You have to lead by example. That's the only way. You have to, they call it you have to eat your own dog food kind of thing.
Otherwise, by the way, I took a year to write that book, but you guys should do it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, no. Man.
You don't even need 30 days. Now, if I will write it in 3 because you have got things like ChatGPT. So you come up with the structure, you come up with the ideas, as long as you have original ideas. And then each paragraph, you get ChatGPT to write paragraph and pages, and then you structure it yourself so that it makes some sense and it's cohesive. So you could do it in 2 or 3 days. And in fact, I will take it as a challenge. I'll take 3 days off and do it all and stuff. And to make the graphics and stuff, I'll use Midjourney as AI. And so you don't even need 30 days. Technology has come so far.
Yeah. So, but what is Midjourney?
Midjourney is like how ChatGPT is for text, Midjourney is for images.
Oh, wow.
So it creates images based on your description of how.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, this ChatGPT effect, the AI.
Yes.
And so that's where so after the book, then you went into the podcast.
Yes.
So that's where you fell in love with Web3, the blockchain, and
I always knew. So as I said earlier, kind of like how I was early with a lot of different technologies, just like I was early with, say, Google AdWords or LinkedIn or Twitter or like a lot of things. I did sign up early. Some I went in full time, some I didn't. And blockchain was one of those things I'd always kept an eye on what's happening. But I didn't go in it full time. I was just exploring it from the side. I was building MVPs, testing things out. But a year and a half ago, I realized that, no, this is for real. I need to get into it. There are still, don't get me wrong, there are still lots of problems. There are lots of not so nice people in this industry. And those things will be cleared out over time. So just like if some of you remember, maybe a lot of you are really young and you don't remember, but when email was new, I'm talking about 1990s, every second email in my inbox was fake Viagra and this Nigerian prince sending me his inheritance, and every second email was like that. So there were lots of scammers on internet back in those days. But over time, you can see that as a problem or you can see that as an opportunity. And Google with its Gmail. So back in those days, Hotmail was the prominent one, then Yahoo Mail, then AOL Mail, and those were ones, but they didn't have good filters for spam. Whereas when Gmail came around, it had excellent filters for spam and it captured the whole email market. Now nearly everyone uses that I know uses Gmail. I'm sure there's some other products and they have come a long way as well. But so there are scams and things like that in the NFT world. There are rug pulls. And so I do talk about sometimes on my show as well, how to be careful, how to protect yourself, and even from people like, centralized exchanges, whether it's FTX or Luna, how to protect yourself from things like that, how to identify that and those things. But just because there are those sort of things, don't see that as a problem, see that as an opportunity that you can go and fix and provide a lot of value, because it's all about providing the right value.
So your message is, don't worry about the FTX, don't worry about the Terra Luna thing, don't worry about all these happening. These are opportunities. you can fix. These
Yes.
are opportunities for you to go ahead and fix it. Because so one other thing is with the Web3, people say Web 1, it's a static pages, Web 2, the platforms, the Google, Apple, all that. Now these Web 3, so I don't know, there are different definitions of Web 3
Yes,
where
lots of
users get
different, yes.
stake in the platform, all kinds of things. So how do you, because the name of your podcast is Web 3 with
Yes.
Sam Kamani. Man, you got a movie star name. this is fantastic.
Too kind.
So how do you see this Web3, like whether in terms of definition or in terms of the reach or how it's going to interact with Web 2? Is it going to take it out or is it going to be, how do you see it?
So it's very interesting. Like, I might not agree with everyone in this Web3 field, but I feel like not every company should have a Web3 component, especially not at this time, not right now. In some things it makes sense, and in some things it doesn't. So what are the things that make it blockchain native or Web3 native is where you want decentralization. So that's where you want Web3 component. If you look at all the scams and things that have happened, that they have happened in centralized exchanges because there is a human being at the center of it controlling things. Whereas none of these scams have happened at a decentralized exchange because what happens is that it is not a human being, it is code. And it is peer-to-peer. So say in a decentralized exchange or purely a DeFi, not just faking to be DeFi, but in a purely DeFi environment, if I'm sending money to you, it goes from my digital wallet to your digital wallet. There is no one in between. Whereas in centralized exchanges, money goes to them, then it goes to you. So that's the key difference. And even in the Web 2 world, it goes through Stripe, it goes through PayPal. There is an intermediary. Whereas in a completely blockchain world, decentralized world, there is no intermediary. So all these scams that have happened to me, they haven't happened in a real blockchain environment. They're kind of like Web 2.5 things that have happened. So that's the key difference. So you have to think that do you want to build something that is completely decentralized, that gives decentralized authority? Maybe it's controlled by smart contracts that lived on a public blockchain in a completely decentralized way. You want to build things that are more permissionless because if it is completely peer-to-peer, completely decentralized, there is no third party. Who are they? They cannot, or any authorities cannot go after it because it is completely decentralized. So it's like, to give you an example, like the Bitcoin. If you want to shut down Bitcoin, what do you go? Do you go to the Bitcoin's headquarters to ask them to, can you please shut down it for 5 hours? So you cannot. So that's like, that's just an example. So do you want to make it permissionless? Do you want to make it decentralized? Do you want it really open so anyone can build on it? I have worked in lots of different tech industries, whether it's SaaS, like, or e-commerce or esports and lots of others. Nowhere it moves as fast as it moves in Web3. And there's an inherent reason, because how do you connect to a software? You connect to a software using APIs, like API hooks, and so you connect into software. So say you want to use Stripe or Spotify or Shopify or something, you want to connect with their software, they will have APIs and you connect with using those APIs. And they control the access to those APIs. Whereas in a public blockchain, the data is out there on a public blockchain. It's not in a centralized database in AWS, Amazon, or Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, or anywhere like that, and similar. So you don't need anyone's permission. You can just build on top of it. You don't need anyone's APIs and stuff. You can just build on top of open public data that's available. So it completely changes. It makes it a lot more permissionless. It makes it a lot more transparent and so on. So things people build all around the world a lot faster. And the other thing with Web3 is because it's so decentralized, the whole ethos of it is decentralized. Most of the Web3 companies I speak with, they are all decentralized and they're spread around the world.
So this is where I ask this question. I think of it, the centralized is 2.0.
Yes.
We got the billionaires, current top of the food chain.
Yes.
So they had their motivation because they got stake in these companies. The company will go public. They're going to be billionaire one day, right?
Yes.
So there is that platform motivation for these individuals to be wealthy. And human beings are kind of wired that way. Okay, what's my, why should I do it? Now, how about the Web3? So why would I go and spend the next 5 years of my life, developing this decentralized platform? Of course, it's good for society, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But what is it in for me?
Yeah. So just like how in a centralized environment you make your startup big enough and you list it it has an IPO event, it lists in the stock market, and people buy stake in it. So you have to go through all that process, and then once again there are central parties like whereas in a completely decentralized environment, of course the regulation and all that is a completely different thing, but in a decentralized environment there are jurisdictions which allows, like Switzerland and some, where you can register with them, and then you can issue tokens in your own startup where everyone can, or in a startup where everyone can own and have even voting rights and government voting rights to that, or governance in that startup. So you would do it for that, and it would be a sort of decentralized way of working and organizing that. So you would still own tokens in that sort of platform, but then there is still a lot of unknown with this, because there is a lot of regulation that is still needed to clarify, because a lot of enterprises and corporates will not engage with blockchain till there is clear-cut regulation and they can price their risk. So right now there is not enough regulation, and not, like, people don't know. There's basically no clarity on what will be considered a security, what's not considered a security. Once there is very clear regulation, then people know what they can build around and what they can not build and stuff, so they know which way to go. So I think this is what's happening in future.
Because we had even recently this Logan Paul's crypto zoo. I don't know whether you heard of it.
Which was kind of like a rug pull. So there are a lot of people who have tried to create a project. The same people have the resources, I believe, that they could create a genuine project and make it a long-term genuine thing. But I do not know why, despite having the resources, they didn't do the right thing. Just like they did the right thing with Prime, that they did build a real product. So why not build a real product even in that? And people believed their name. And it's probably because they didn't get the right partners, the right advice, not understanding how it all works. Maybe I'm giving them the benefit of doubt. That maybe that's why. I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. But they understand that now. And when everything is clearer in hindsight, they thought they will be able to just make quick money. And that was the thing, or the problem of 2021, where everyone was making money. So there was so much hype, and everyone wanted to just get into that hype.
This 2020, 2021, the years of pandemic, even part of 2022, the beginning part, everybody's a millionaire. Everybody's swimming in money.
It wasn't only in the crypto space, it was also in the stocks and the finance space, like with the GME and all those, I don't know, Robinhood and all the stocks.
The Wall Street bets, right?
And the pandemic stocks and all that. Zoom stock and Peloton and all those went up massively, and then they crashed 90% after post-pandemic and stuff.
So that brings up a good question. Not just Web3, you are a big believer in the finance, education, stocks, and I saw your TED Talk, you're talking about it was great, like gamification. That's the gamification theory around stocks and finance. And I would love to know more about that.
Yeah, so basically, because I worked in esports and being a gamer most of my life, I have always been interested and intrigued by why do billions of people spend thousands of hours around the world, or probably hundreds of hours each around the world on gaming voluntarily. Sometimes they even have to pay to game. It's like, why is that? And not every game becomes successful. Even though there are massive studios like Activision and Ubisoft and so many of them who have Blizzard and so on, who have tens of thousands of employees, and they spend sometimes even 5 years making a game, and then the game flops. And so it is still very hard to understand what makes humans tick. How can you apply these gamification rules for good, not for bad, and get the desired outcome, whether it's in finance, whether it's in family. I was even giving examples of family and stuff, how you can use these in a positive way.
So some people say, like Warren Buffett and a lot of these people say these gamification theory applied in finance created this Robinhood or this casinos on the cell phone. So some people take it a little negatively, that stock investment, because I'll give you my personal example. But when Elon Musk was tweeting about Dogecoin, and somehow I downloaded Robinhood app and I was searching and I saw Dogecoin was on Robinhood, and I didn't know, I knew nothing. I had some money, I put whatever $1,000, And then he was going to go on SNL. He went on
Yes.
SNL. It went 5 times. I think it went
5x or something, yeah.
5x plus more, I think.
More than that.
And
I think
I thought
nearly
it's going to
10x,
keep on
yeah.
going on.
Yes.
So, but I sold it later. But I did make profit.
Yes.
That gave me this bad idea in my head that I'm so good. It was actually
I was going to talk about all
Right?
this. Yes. Yes.
wow, because after that, every investment I did, I don't call it investment, these are casino, right? Those kind of things. I lost.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, Elon, what have you done to me? I thought you were the best, I was so honored. I was, what happened? So what do you think about this?
Yeah, okay. So I have few thoughts about this.
Yeah.
First thought, and this is for anyone listening, the safest thing to do is, of course, this is not investment advice, do your own research. The safest thing to do is to invest in an index fund like S&P 500 or something. For most people, that's going to work.
Everything you said, people loved you. Gamer, as soon as you say index, oh, okay, let's turn it off.
Yeah, but that is the safest.
Okay,
I'm not saying the highest return. I'm saying the safest.
Safest.
Yeah, safest way to invest is S&P 500. That's what Warren Buffett would also say. That's what Charlie Munger would also tell you. And that is index fund, because most people don't know and understand stocks and stuff, including me. And that's why S&P 500 type an index fund, which tracks the market, is the best, because over time, over the last 80 years, it has proved it gives about 8% return. And compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world that Warren Buffett says, and it will add up. So have every month, every week, have a set amount put aside, doing that, and few different index funds, and then just let it grow over time. So that is the most sane advice. Now for the insanity bit, if you are ready. So that is something that you do for fun. And if you look at Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, it's like their portfolios are quite concentrated in a way, because they invest in only what they know. Charlie Munger owned, like most of his life, only 6 stocks or something, 6 different companies, because they have spent nearly 80 years each between top 3 guys of them. It's 240 years they have spent in studying the industries that they know. So there is this whole concept of, instead of working on your weaknesses, make your strengths stronger and be the best in the world in one thing. And they are the best in the world at that. So they can get phenomenal result year after year, whereas people like Kathy Cook will come and go. They are here to stay, like Warren Buffett. And because, they are champions, they are experts, they are the guru. No one can get better at reading the reports of the company and figuring out. And so invest in only what you know. So that is my philosophy. Now, on the counter of that is that where is the best place to invest? Because I have been asked this I go on other podcasts and stuff as well. And where are you investing? On my podcast show as well, I never talk about any prices, any tokens, anything, any investment advice, because my thing has been consistent. There is one thing where everyone should invest, and that is your own self. So that is because when you invest in your own skills, whether it is public speaking skills, networking skills, soft skills, that is a wealth that no one can tax and no one can steal. A thief cannot come. He can come and break into your car if you live in San Francisco and steal your laptop. Inside.
Some people leave their car open in San Francisco nowadays, so that there is no breaking in. They're like, hey, take it all.
Really? Wow. I never thought of that.
I saw that on Fox News, so I don't know. I cannot fact check that.
No, I have had so many friends who have had things stolen in San Francisco from their car. Even my co-founder just dropped me off here right now. He had things stolen the last time we were here from his car. But that's a common thing. But when you build your own soft skills, when you invest in that, that is someone that no one can steal. And it only compounds over time. So when you start building a network, when you invest in your public speaking skills or communication skills or networking skills, they compound even faster than the 8% of S&P or 10% of S&P 500. So that is one place where you should invest, because over time, you have no idea where these soft skills will lead you to.
Yeah, man, this is you got a matching watch. I was going to say something, and then I was like, wow, that's a gamer right there.
No, it's just to count my steps and stuff, trying to be healthy.
Oh, this is fantastic, man. This is so people listening to you, they'll be like, oh, okay, this guy's promoting Web3. You're like, no, I'm not promoting just Web3. I have, you gave the Sanity example of the Warren Buffett and the index funds, things like that. Now, so this is amazing, and the self-development, like Brendan Kumarasamy, the public speaking and things like that. So this is fantastic. Now, so this is where you're we want to know more about this Cookbook.dev, right? The cookbook company that you're one of the co-founders of the company, and you're in charge of the growth.
Yes.
And that's a really, like, when I think of it, out of all the jobs that they can hire a bunch of people to code, do a lot of things, the growth, that's a strategy game. That's that's a big thing. So what's your perspective on the cookbook and how you're planning to
grow it,
take over, man?
Yes, sure, absolutely, yes. So I'll just quickly explain how Cookbook works and where it fits in the picture, so then I can share how I plan to grow it, because maybe there are few of you are founders in tech world, and you can maybe implement these strategies in your own startup. So what does Cookbook do? So Cookbook.dev, Cookbook is a collection of smart contract recipes. What are smart contracts? So all the transactions in the Web3 world, they are in a way defined on a smart contract. So say, for example, there's a digital wallet, person X has a digital wallet, and they sell you a digital asset, or you buy from them. So the money goes to them, and then I help them create that as well. So then it gets split between them and myself. So then all these details would be, say, written in a smart contract. So this is how it will be executed and how the transaction will be done. So so because there is no third party in the true sort of Web3 vision, then the smart contract is the code defining what will happen instead of a third party defining what will happen. So these are different types of smart contracts. So whether you are creating your own token, your own coin, that all that information will be in a smart contract. What type of a token? If it's an NFT, what type of an NFT it is? Maybe that NFT gives you access to events like Gary Vee. His NFT gives you access to VCon, his conference. So the only way to go to his conference is have his NFT. I mean, that's how it used to be. I don't know if it is now. So he would have an NFT that defines all that, and all that information will be written in a smart contract. So what our platform does is it's a collection of smart contracts, or the front page of smart contracts on the internet. So you can find any smart contract, use that recipe as a template, and even if you don't know how to code, you can go and change the name on it and deploy it as a fresh smart contract. So you can change the name to your name and deploy it as your own coin, your own token, or your own DAO, like create your own decentralized organization, give people voting rights in it, make some rules for governance, all that. So you can create on our platform. So it's a home to source any smart contract and edit them and deploy them onto the network, because we wanted to bring more people into the ecosystem and enable them to work and to build. And it's a completely free to use open source platform. So other people also contribute their smart contracts. So like a lot of developers, that's just how they think, and that's just how they work. So I'm sure you might have heard of Stack Overflow. Yes.
We use it all the time.
Yes.
We copy paste stuff out of that.
Exactly.
Anytime you have a problem, somebody already had that. Sorry, just copy it.
So think of it like for smart contracts as well. So what happens is that when developers create their own new smart contract, they want other people to use it. So they upload it, or protocols create a smart contract, they upload it to Cookbook.dev, and then other people can use it as a template. I'm just using the word template, but basically copy from it.
Because back in the days, you remember Wix.com came along, and it was on Flash. And you drag and drop, and some fire and rain, and all kinds of things. It was so cool. And you look at a web page and like, oh man, I created that. And that's how a lot of people even got into web development. Later on, they used HTML5 to take out the Flash out. But so I think you guys
Canva does it. Canva, so they have templates, and then you just create things from that template. So same thing we have that is, that you...
So you guys are similar.
In a way.
For Canva, Wix, or Stack Overflow of crypto.
Or
should we use the word crypto or Web3?
Maybe Web3 or blockchain, maybe. Because crypto, what happens is people think only of cryptocurrencies. You can create any utility over here. So you can find any smart contract that you're looking for, whether you want to create your own DAO or you want to create your own token, you want to create your own NFT project, you want to create anything, any utility. Maybe some people create payment splitters on that. Some people go and create like a stable coin on that, their own. So, and it takes like 2 minutes to create that on our platform. So that's our sort of platform, what we're building. Most of the users of our platform, we thought they would be non-coders because we allow them to do it in a no-code way. However, they are all developers because there is a fundamental reason why. Because you got that smart contract, then developers know what to do with it and how to build a front end and create a decentralized app called a dApp around it. Whereas not everyone might know what to do with that smart contract. So most of our users are developers, and that's why we go to events like ETH Denver to meet with those developers, find out, what are their roadblocks, how can we make their life easy. That's our plan, that's our job, and to capture that and to help them build faster. So that's what we do. So later this week, Friday, I'm going to Denver for ETH Denver for a couple of weeks.
So is the ETH Denver, what is this program?
So ETH Denver is a huge sort of a gathering of lots of developers that work in blockchain.
All Ethereum guys, or it can be Dogecoin guy?
It could be any. It could be any. Generally, there are not that many people building on Dogecoin. The reality is, and that's one thing that you have to. I mean, I'll give you a bit of alpha, if you're interested. So the thing is that if you want to see the longevity of a product, of a chain or a coin or anything, you have to see how many people are building solutions on it. And the ecosystem that has the most developers actively building things on it will win, because there will be solutions out there on that ecosystem. And which ecosystem has the most number of developers? It's Ethereum. So
Ethereum has no competition, right?
It has a lot of competition.
Which one's the closest?
That is.
Is it the Polkadot? Not the Polkadot.
No, not Polkadot. not Polkadot. Polkadot has developers, and they are trying to do. So Ethereum has
Solana.
Solana is still not. The thing is that Ethereum is. I saw the last developer report I saw. So there is a VC firm called Electric Capital. They released a developer report, and the fundamental change I saw in that is that every few years, every 3 or 4 years, there is a bear market in crypto, just like in the stocks and the other regular financial ecosystem. There is a down market every 10 to 12 years. Crypto moves a lot faster. There's every 3 years there's a down market called crypto winter. Some people call it
crypto winter.
So last crypto summer was in 2018, early 2018, and then after that was crypto winter later in 2018, and then every 3 years. It's been 2015, 2011, and all that. It happens every 3 years about. And every time there was a crypto winter, there were less developers left. This time was different. In the 2022 crypto winter, the number of developers went up. People creating solutions went up. So what this tells us is that we will be using a lot of these things in 2025, 2026, because the building is not going to slow down. Everything in 2021 that became a billion or a multi-billion-dollar company like OpenSea or Uniswap or any of these, they all started in the previous crypto winter. So all the solutions that are being built now will be worth billions later on. And we will be having utility that we never used before. It's like I went to ETH San Francisco in November. I was here in November, and there were so many innovative solutions that I have never seen in my life. Like I scanned someone's QR code, and it sent an NFT to me, and then that NFT works as a digital SIM, and I had 1 gigabit of data. It was amazing. It was crazy.
Wow.
Like there's so many different solutions, because people think of NFT as only artwork. I'd never think of NFT as an artwork. Artwork is just the thumbnail, just like you have a thumbnail in Spotify or YouTube. Think of NFT as access. Whether that access is for trade, it's for events, it's for conferences, for just like how we used to have physical boarding passes and tickets. Now we just do the QR code, and then eventually it would probably be the NFT in your digital wallet. That as long as you have that NFT, you can go on that flight or whatever. So I do think of NFTs as access, because it can give you access to musician or artist or other people in future, or for logistics and things like that. You are great, man. You are a great marketer. You got me sold into this crypto. I was very negative about the whole crypto stuff.
I made money from crypto, from the Elon Musk tweet of Dogecoin. That's
a lot
all.
of people did.
And
a lot of people lost as well.
and then I lost it on other things, so I cannot blame it on crypto. I'll be like, oh, okay, I lost it on Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever. You know, some of these. I think that
Invest
one also,
in only what you know.
yeah,
that is number one.
invest. You know, wow. So this is, we're going through a winter, but people that are building the next summer's hottest things in the crypto world that are working right now.
Yeah.
You know, so you're meeting these people in San Francisco, in Denver. So do you see a lot of talent going into this blockchain? Because, you know, I think that's what you mentioned, that, you know, where developers are. Because wherever the talent is going, if it's going to 2.0, then 2.0 would do well if it's going to the Web3.
One of the reasons why I joined, or this sort of movement, you can say in a way, is because some of the smartest people I knew in 2020 and 2021, they were all moving to this space because they believed in the ethos of decentralization, and they were leaving these massive companies like Google and Microsoft and all these, and Amazon and these ones, like, even though they had massive pay, and going and eating noodles and building their own crypto sort of startups and stuff, because they really believed in the ethos of decentralization and not having a very strong middleman. So that sort of attracted me initially to this. But now I do see that there is a future. It will take, just like a lot of things, it will take a lot of iterations and a lot of back and forth.
So this is one of the questions I always thought of in the back of my mind. Like, instead of going in and buying some token, or the currency, the coin, you should look at which platform has the most number of developers, or is growing, or the fastest growing developers, and maybe buy some of that, keep it during the winter, so that in summer you can sell or something like that. Is that a good strategy?
That maybe is, but then it's so many layers to it, because are those developers genuinely going to it because the development on that platform is easy, or are those developers going to it because, like, Solana had raised a lot of funding from venture capital, and that venture capital is flowing to pay a lot of developers really high amount, and that they'll leave once they have that's exhausted. So it is, you have to find out, which platform is making it the easiest for developers to build. And the whole fight is for developers. The reason why we are in this space and we want to capture the developer market is because all the value is created by the developers, whether it is in Web2 startups or Web3 startups, because they are the ones building the product. If they stop building, there is nothing to sell for the marketers. So we wanted to go to the source, get all the developers, and then we are super valuable to all the protocols, to all the chains, or all the coins, and so on. So
wow. So right now you are investing 100% of your energy and your talent in the Web3 world.
Yes, I am at the moment. Yes.
Wow, this is, man. So you are one of the pioneers. So we're gonna look back at this time during the summer. When is the summer coming for the crypto?
We don't know. It's like saying that. It's like saying, when is the stock price going up? It's like it's.
This is, maybe once the Sam Bankman-Fried episode is over. Probably. So what do you think about?
That is already kind of over. People have gotten over it.
So what do you think about Sam?
I do think that maybe he started with no negative motives. I don't know, but the thing is that what he did was purely wrong, because it's like there have been instances when smaller banks have done that as well. Not so big reputable banks, but smaller banks. They have dipped into customer funds to pay for things. So that's what Sam did. That's how I see it, as that is a complete no-no. You do not do that. Otherwise you go to jail, because you don't dip into customer funds to pay for things. Maybe he started with good motives, but just because of inexperience and not having good accounting practices and things like that, and not realizing that he should have kept a lot of these entities separate and not mingle money in between the different entities and stuff. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what rules and regulations he exactly broke and how it affects and stuff.
Yeah, this is one of the things I loved about him is he's a famous media guy, right? He goes in with his hair and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, Albert Einstein just appeared, You're this is the next thing he got people so excited about, because the other two, you have the CZ and the Vitalik, they're more like, very geeky or the nerdy kind of flavor. A lot of people love that. They're like, oh, we love that stuff. But Sam had that plus the media, right? So that's a very attractive position to be in.
Yes.
And so after Sam's disappearance, people are like, oh, if this didn't work for him, I don't know. But one other thing I thought of, the way they justified the commingling of these customer funds was their own token, right? That's what was
FTT
the
token.
FTT token, or Binance has their Binance token. But I'm not saying Binance is commingling. I'm just saying they have their token. So this token thing. So let's say I have I go to Cookbook.dev. I get my TSS or whatever, it's a top style token. And then the show, let's say, gets more subscribers, and people are like, oh, this token might be more valuable, right? People start buying, they keep it. And but one of the thing I feel, if it was a stock, people have a more long-term perspective towards it. Like, oh, we feel they're going to do more acquisition. They're going to do mergers with another show. Or I'm just making things up.
Yes. No, that is true.
Right?
I've had an offer by someone last year to buy my show and stuff. So that happens.
Wow.
That happens.
Congrats.
Thanks. So that does happen a lot. Just like you might have heard of Gimlet.
Gimlet, no.
Or like it's a big podcasting media that buys shows from everywhere.
Wow.
And there are lots. And then they create like a network where then they can get ads and then spread the ads throughout the network. So that sort of things do happen. So that could happen. The thing is, in my belief, that a token or a chain or anything should have its utility. If there is no utility, then it is just hype. People are just buying on hype, and you cannot escape it. Sooner or later, the hype comes to an end, and that's it. When everyone starts selling, fear sets in, and that's it. It goes down to zero. So if you do, whether it's an NFT project, whether it's your own tokens, you have to think of the economics of it, that and you have to think of the reason and the utility. So what will this NFT, say if it's an NFT project, what will this NFT give you? Maybe it gives people who own a chance to spend half an hour to pick your brains once a year. Maybe it gives some other, you have a Tom-style massive event. And so they get to do that. Maybe you have just a party once a year. You have a, what do you call, like a box tickets to the Super Bowl or something, and you take 10 people, whoever holds your NFT. So it could be anything. It could be, but it has to have some utility. If there is no utility, then it's just hype. And
So the utility part, I think that's the. I think. But my feeling is once these developers start, this massive developments keep on going, not just start but keep it going, and then one of the celebrities or the influencers come in and show the utility. Like, hey, here's how we utilize the whole thing, and then people are like, oh, wow, that's what happened. Because otherwise, we are very visual people, right? If we don't see it, we don't, like Prime. I went to the vitamin shop the other day. I see Prime everywhere. I'm like, are you kidding me? This Logan Paul is taking over this, everywhere.
You can't buy it in UK because KSI is quite big in UK, and they can never get the stock right because it's so popular.
How about New Zealand?
I think it's going to launch, not yet, but it's coming to Australia first, then to New Zealand, I think. They just did a deal with MMA.
Yeah, the UFC.
They just did the massive deal with UFC. So they're going to be big. And that's the problem that happened. It's like all these influencers and people came out after Gary Vee became really successful with his NFT project. And he gives real value. You get to go to his conference if you hold his NFT. He gives you that NFT if you buy like 12 books of his. At one stage, he was doing that. So you do get those physical books as well and all that. So there was some value to it. But what happened was that all these people saw that, okay, Gary Vee is doing so much, making money. So let us make money. Let us promise the world. They promised the world and delivered nothing. So even the Zoo project, they promised that they'll do this game, they'll do this and that, and they'll do all these sub-products and stuff. And then they never delivered. So they had a fallout with the developer, and they had fights internally, and then nothing happened. No one got any value, and people paid all this money to buy that NFT or to mint that NFT.
So this is a very important thing I'm going to ask you. I did engineering in my past. I wrote codes, but I haven't done it in the last 10 years. And I don't want to touch it. I read some of those, but I don't want to be the one verifying the code. So, and I see, and that's me coming from a tech background. And there are a lot of people coming from non-tech backgrounds. Very successful, very influential in the social media world or in business world. Now, they are probably just thinking like Logan did. at that time that, hey, I'm just going to get a couple of developers, put them together. And then I don't know the stories, he had somebody keeping the code hostage and all that stuff. So if somebody's in that position, like let's say, okay, they have good intention because they have a brand, they don't want to lose it in the zoo or something, right?
Yeah.
So where do they go? Do they go to Cookbook.dev and find other things? Or is there like a developer community that they can be like, okay, you know what, I can choose developers from here, it's more trustworthy. What do you think?
I think the first thing is to learn. And once again, it comes back down to invest in yourself and learn about what is really going on and learn what other projects, what has gone wrong for the projects that have gone wrong, and learn what has gone right for the projects that have gone right. See how they did things, how they built a community, what utility they provide. Think of a utility you want to provide. Go and meet some developers, put out job things out there, go to places like Upwork. But it is hard. It is hard finding good developers. I would recommend getting a co-founder who is technical then, because then you have marketing skills, get someone with complementary skills. So that would be my number one advice.
Wow. Okay. Like, I saw Jake Paul, since we were talking about the Paul brothers. Jake Paul has a co-founder. He's supposed to be the CTO of the company. He created the anti-fund or something back many years ago. I don't know. He has a new fight coming up. Do you watch the MMA stuff? No, he's a boxer.
Not a lot. Yeah, a little bit. Like not a lot. Yes.
You can get him on your podcast.
I should, and see what happens.
I think we covered enough of the smart contract and the Cookbook.dev. You have done a phenomenal marketing for your cookbook. I think this is the hottest thing in the next crypto summer. Crypto summer. Otherwise, if I don't say crypto summer, we're like, oh, this summer? Okay, how do I buy the stock?
No, you can. We don't have a token. We don't have a token. Oh. Because that's not what we are. We are here for, it is a development tool. So not everything needs a token. That is the other thing.
Wow, So you guys, so you're just helping the community to grow stronger.
Yes. And it's okay. It's like, it is not something that is going to make, people often ask us, then how do you make money?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd have to.
Like, how do I ask him?
I could see that question coming up, which is asked by every investor that has invested in us as well. But they understand something. So our product is very similar to GitHub or NPM. And those are the companies that were, that didn't make money for first many years. You do need the developers. GitHub eventually did get acquired by Microsoft for 7.5 billion. So the thing is that you have to provide the value first and provide the value for developers, because developers are extremely, extremely valuable for the whole ecosystem. The whole crypto market, it's worth trillions, because not only the 1 trillion in the market cap of the coins that you see online, but then also the startups and the value that the startups have generated and how much worth they are, and quite a few of them are worth in billions. So, and all this value is provided by just about 15,000 full-time developers. So all this value is created by just that. So the thing is, we are still very, very early in this world. Wow. The solutions that will come in future. It is hard for us to imagine, just like when in early 1990s, the phone was a brick phone. It was very hard to imagine to tell someone that, in 2015, people are going to use their smartphone to take a picture of their breakfast and send the picture of their breakfast to someone else. And they'd be like, why would anyone do that? Why? Even if it could. It's so hard to imagine that when the phone was like a brick with no screen. So it is very hard to imagine how blockchain will be used, how these concepts of decentralization, permissionless, the ability to build faster, all these things will be used in future. But all these people are developing solutions on that. So if we capture that value now, if we help these developers now and get them on our platform now, it will help us for the years to come.
Man, this is amazing. You're playing the long game.
Yes.
You're not worried about cashing out tomorrow. You're playing the long game as the community grows, like what GitHub did. So now the other thing, this is probably not super related, but GitHub has this Copilot now, right?
Yes.
And a lot of other people are trying to come up with it. I have a friend, he owns a company called Metabob, Massimiliano Genta.
Yes.
And he was also doing similar Copilot, he helps you the code and stuff. I don't know what the status of that company is now after Copilot came out, so I haven't asked him that. But let's see. So you guys can probably do something like Cook Pilot or something.
We already have that to a certain extent. Oh, man. So what happens is when, say, what developers do is they upload their smart contracts onto our platform. And one thing we realize is that a lot of developers, not all, but some developers don't like writing documentation.
Yeah.
It's very boring.
Yes.
So if you upload your smart contract, then Cookbook will use AI to write documentation for your smart contract. So all the documentation is written by AI. So it's already using it. And if you go and have a look, there are thousands of jobs in the world now for things like prompt engineer, for AI experts, for machine language, people skilled in machine language and so on.
Yeah.
So
in Silicon Valley, and after the ChatGPT came out,
Yes.
and your Satya Nadella went,
Yes.
whoa, we're going in.
gonna spend 10 billion on it. Yeah.
and then all over the news, this Google Code Red, something happened. Google, Larry Page came in, like Larry Page, whatever. This is. I think I lost.
Every company will use AI. Every company.
Yeah.
It just increases productivity. There's just no two ways about it.
Wow. So you got the crypto, the Web3, the podcast, man, and then you're probably even going to write a book. How do you write a book in the AI world in 3 days? Oh man, it's just so much. You're like, oh God, wow. And you've sold your startups. But one thing we didn't mention on the show, you're from New Zealand.
Yes.
And
I live in New Zealand, but I travel to US often.
you were here at the studio in Silicon Valley physically,
Yes.
all the way from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I was about
It's
to
a
say.
pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. I came for you.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get to meet some people like you.
I came for so you go to the Denver conference. Like, no, I came for the Tom Style show, but I just stopped by Denver.
Yes, exactly
Check
right.
out
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. This is an absolute blessing. I really appreciate you coming down. So, any word of advice for entrepreneurs or anybody in the crypto or the Web3 world? Any word of advice? Anything you want to say to the audience?
Yeah. Yep. So nearly everything that we want lives on the other side of fear, and you have to have the courage to go for it. And that again once comes back down to like what we were talking earlier on the 30-day startup thing, that you just have to do it. You just have to get your product out there. Don't be scared. I mean, some people will be critical, but that's fine. That's internet. That's the world.
Yes.
and if you are fearful of people being critical, it will paralyze you. So don't be paralyzed. Just go for it. And then if there is one thing you want to invest in, it's not a coin. It's yourself. Invest in yourself. That will last you till the last day, and it's something that no one can tax it and no one can steal.
Man, you got to be the advisor. Oh, these are just beautiful advice. Like invest in yourself, and so and also sometimes I see you were the judge. You're going to different hackathons, things
Yes,
like that.
yes, I often
so
do
you're
that.
very
Yeah.
involved in the community.
Yeah.
So folks, if you want him, he's an absolute gentleman. If you want him on your show, if you want him on your podcast, if you want him on your hackathon as a judge, as a keynote speaker, this is an absolute. How do they contact you? Should they go to your podcast, or how do they?
Yeah, so just search Web3 for Web3 with Sam Kamani on any audio platform, or just on LinkedIn or Twitter. Just reach out to me. My DMs are open. I always like connecting with good, like-minded people. So yeah.
Oh man, Sam Kamani, go check out his podcast, check out his TED Talk, and go and come if you're a founder in the Web3 world, this is the place. Web3 with Sam Kamani, this is the place, folks. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you
really
so much.
appreciate it. And folks, please do subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you. One last thing I would like to say, and that is that Tom has one of the best shows in YouTube. You need to go and subscribe. It is going to be a massive show. Subscribe now. There's going to be amazing lineup of guests that he has got for you over the next coming few weeks. So see you there.
Thank you. Oh my God, Sam. Thank you.